ever wonder what happens after you die? Or maybe what happens in that terrifying space between life and death? Today, we're diving deep into a story that explores just that. We're going to break down an animated short that has been making waves for its chilling depiction of a near-death experience. This isn't your typical white light and pearly gates. This is something much, much darker. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's explore the nightmare together. The film opens on a scene that's all too familiar in horror, a lonely road at night. A motorcycle cuts through the darkness, its headlight a solitary beacon. But peace is shattered in an instant. A brutal crash sends the bike skidding across the asphalt in a shower of sparks. The rider, a young girl, is thrown from the bike and lands hard. The camera lingers on her still form, the roar of the engine fading away, replaced by the faint, rhythmic thump of the heartbeat. It gets slower and slower until there's only silence. This abrupt stop isn't just the end of the sound, it's the end of a life, or so we think. The screen fades to black, plunging us into the same unknown abyss as our protagonist. From the blackness, a new scene bleeds into existence. We're no longer on a roadside, we're in a dark, seemingly endless tunnel. The walls are rough, jagged stone, and the only light comes from a faint, pulsing red glow, eerily mimicking the heartbeat we just heard. Stop! Our main character, the girl from the crash, appears. She's standing, her clothes torn, her face a mask of confusion and raw terror. The air is thick with sound, but it's not clear. Faint, overlapping whispers swirl around her, impossible to understand, but filled with a menacing energy. They seem to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The camera positions itself behind her, making us feel like we're walking this terrifying path with her. As she takes her first hesitant steps, the tunnel seems to stretch, the exit, if there is one, impossibly far away. This isn't a physical place, it's a psychological prison, and the true horror is just beginning. Just as she starts to find her footing, the unseen forces of this place make their move. Invisible hands suddenly clamp around her ankles. There's no warning, no build-up, just a violent, terrifying grab. She's yanked off her feet and dragged brutally across the stone floor. Her nails scrape against the rough surface, leaving faint trails and creating tiny sparks of light in the oppressive darkness. Her mouth opens in a silent scream, a visual representation of utter helplessness. The sound design here is brilliant. We hear the scraping, the dragging, but her own voice is stolen from her. The shadows on the walls aren't static anymore. They begin to crawl and writhe like living smoke, twisting into unsettling shapes that seem to watch her torment. It's a masterclass in building dread, making the very environment a hostile entity. The artists then introduce an even more disturbing element. As the girl is dragged, the camera pans to the tunnel walls, and we see them. Faces, hundreds of them, embedded in the stone itself. Their eyes are wide, alive, and filled with the same terror she feels. They track her movement as she's pulled past, but their mouths are frozen, locked in silent screams of their own. Are these other lost souls, previous victims of this place? The film doesn't give us answers, which only amplifies the horror. These faces serve as a grim prophecy of her own potential fate, to become another permanent, silent fixture in this nightmarish corridor. The dragging gets faster, more violent. The sense of being pulled deeper and deeper into an inescapable darkness is overwhelming. She's not just being moved, she's being consumed. The perspective then shifts dramatically. We're now seeing the world through her eyes. This first-person point of view is jarring and incredibly effective. We're no longer watching her ordeal, we are living it. Rapid, strobe-like flashes of light illuminate the darkness, but they offer no comfort. In these brief moments of sight, we see them, distorted, horrifying figures reaching out from the shadows. Their forms are unclear, more like twisted suggestions of limbs and faces, which is far scarier than any clearly defined monster. A deafening, distorted roar fills the soundtrack, a sound that feels both animalistic and mechanical, shaking you to your core. Just as a massive, hulking shadow creature, the source of the roar, looms directly over her, its form blocking out the last of the faint red light. Everything snaps, blinding white. The transition is violent, a sensory shock after the suffocating darkness. The sound changes from the distorted roar to the frantic, high-pitched beeping of medical equipment. We're in a hospital emergency room. The lighting is harsh, clinical, the complete opposite of the tunnel. Doctors and nurses swarm around a gurney, their movements urgent. They place defibrillator paddles on a patient's chest. The camera pulls in tight. It's her. Clear. A voice shouts. Her body convulses as the electricity courses through her. A moment of stillness, and then she gasps. A huge, shuddering intake of breath. She's awake. The camera pushes in for an extreme close-up on her face. Her eyes are wide, and tears stream down her cheeks. But this isn't a look of relief. It's the same raw, primal terror we saw in the tunnel. She's back, but she brought the nightmare with her. And now, for the final, chilling shot that will stay with you long after the credits roll. The camera stays on her terrified face, but the focus shifts slightly. Pull in our attention to the background behind the busy doctors. For just a fraction of a second, in a dark corner of the brightly lit, the air seems to shimmer and darken, a flicker. And in that flicker, we see it, a silhouette. The unmistakable shape of the massive shadow creature from the tunnel, silently watching. It followed her back. The horror isn't over. It was never just a dream or a hallucination. It's real, and it has crossed the veil between worlds. The implication is terrifying. She didn't escape. She just changed locations. So, what does it all mean? This animated short is a powerful exploration of trauma and the permeable barrier between life and death. The tunnel isn't just a place. It's a manifestation of the agony and fear of a violent end. The faces in the walls, the whispers, the creature, they are the personification of that pain. The final shot is what elevates this from a scary story to true psychological horror. It suggests that such a profound brush with death leaves a permanent scar, an open door for darkness to seep into the world of the living. She may have been revived, but a part of her is forever lost in that tunnel, and a part of the tunnel is now forever with her. This piece is a stunning example of how animation can be used for more than just children's stories. It can convey deep, complex, and terrifying ideas in a way that live fiction sometimes can't. The stylistic choices, the sound design, the pacing. It all works in perfect harmony to create an unforgettable and deeply unsettling experience. It forces us to ask ourselves what we would see in that moment, and more frighteningly, what might follow us back. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I hope you found it as fascinating and terrifying as I did. What did you think of that final twist? Let me know your interpretations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next journey into the dark and curious corners of cinema. Stay safe and see you next time.